Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to share with you guys everything that's kind of been happening this week and the transition of my husband leaving and then going on deployment and what my decision was as to if I'm going to stay or leave, and then also if I made my friend next door. So if you watched my last video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So be sure to go check that out if you haven't, and here's my update. So first, as far as my friend next door, I did not make friends with her yet because I was actually going to go over to her house yesterday, but turns out her husband is still there because he hasn't left with my husband yet because of schooling and everything like that, so they're going to come back and pick a couple of guys up. But anyway, so he's still there, and I did not want to meet him and his wife. Like, it was already scary enough to meet her, and so to add him in the mix was kind of like really intimidating. So I'm gonna wait till he's gone, and my husband's gonna tell me when he's with him and everything. So as soon as that happens, I will go and meet her, I promise. Because I want to make a friend, especially next door, who I can like cry to daily. Hopefully. I hope she likes me, and I hope she doesn't care that I cry. Okay, so as for this week, my husband is gone, and it's just been an emotional roller coaster because the hardest thing I think about them leaving is the anticipation. Like, you want them to be gone, but you don't want them to be gone. Like, you want this like anticipation to just like stop. So you want them to leave so you're not anticipating, but you don't want them to leave because you want them to be there in your arms for the rest of your life. Like, at night, I would touch, like, y'all, I would touch his back and I would cry because I was like, I'm not gonna touch your back anymore. And so it's super, super difficult. And it was super difficult for me because I just kept crying and crying and crying, and I didn't want him to leave, but I knew that as soon as he left, it would be a little bit easier, and in easier of ways of like, I don't have to cry thinking about, I don't get to touch you anymore, I don't get to hug you anymore, like, it'll just be over. Like, I just won't get to hug him, I just won't get to, whatever. And so this whole week has just been really hard, and that's why I haven't put any videos out, because I've just been trying to wrap my head around everything and spend as much time with him as I can before he leaves. And now that he's gone, I'll be able to make more videos and advice stuff and everything. And as far as the advice, I have so much advice to give to y'all. I met with an Army wife yesterday, or the day before, and we talked about like how there's just a lot of things that military wives don't know. And I definitely want to address those because I want to give you as much advice as I can. So it's not scary, it's not confusing, it's not anticipation or anything like that. So hopefully I can get those videos out to you, and I have more time now, so I'll be able to. As far as me staying or leaving, I'm staying. And I am so like thankful for all of you guys' support and comments and prayers and everything like that. Like, there were two girls who actually emailed me and gave me their phone number and were like, hey, if you ever just want to cry, like, call me. And it was just such a blessing because I'm glad that I've formed this community of people who are able to reach out to each other and able to talk to each other. And even on, I think, one of my past videos, I don't remember which one, there were girls whose boyfriends were both at, or husbands were both at boot camp, and so they got to connect on that. And so I just really appreciate the community that is in this YouTube channel, and it's awesome. So I decided to stay because for multiple reasons. I got a lot of you guys' advice about how, I would grow a lot if I stayed, and I would, become more independent, I would be more confident, and I would get to do like new things and grow as a person. And it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And I know once they leave, like, we just have all of this time on our hands that we get to go out and explore and learn new things and meet new people. And I realized that if I go home, I would be with my family and I would love my family and I would get support from my family, but I wouldn't grow as much there as I would being here, being in a new place, having this new community, having like making new friends and everything like that. And so whenever that first hit me, I was like, okay, maybe I'll stay. But I still was like crying and crying and crying and crying because I was like, I don't want to stay. I don't want to stay. I don't want to stay. And that was my last video. It was like, I have all of these options and I feel like I should stay, but I don't want to. I don't want to stay. And so I prayed every single day and I just said, Lord, what is your plan for me? Because I have no idea. I could go either way, honestly. Like I could go home. It's not that big of a deal if I just go home. And if I stay, like I'm going to be lonely and I don't want to be lonely. And that was the thing that was holding me back is I have two great options. But one of them is going to give me comfort at home and the other one is going to make me lonely and by myself. And I could just feel like God was saying, if you go home into this comfortable place where you know people and you know, have your family and all that stuff, how am I going to grow you? How am I going to teach you to just rely on me? If you're alone by yourself, yes, you have a great community, but you come home to an empty home, you're going to learn to rely on me. You're going to learn to depend on me for comfort and for love and for guidance. And so I start to like think about that and I just cried again because I was like, Lord, I don't want to stay here. Like I understand that you are telling me this and I understand that you want me to grow, but why? Why do you want me to stay and be alone? And every single day he just put more reasons for me to stay. And the very last reason that I want to share with you guys is this idea of when you get married, or even if you have a boyfriend, you learn to depend on them. You learn to depend on them for happiness. You learn to depend on them for love, for joy, for opening a jar of pickles. Like you learn to rely on them because they're your person. Like they're someone that you can hold and kiss and do all these things. And the last reason I just felt like, okay, I have to stay, was hearing the Lord say, you are going to have to learn that I am your first. Not your last, not your second, not your third, your first. And if I were to go home, I would be with my family and, you know, I would pray and I would do all these things, you know, and I would do my Christian self, but I wouldn't be putting God first. It would be my family first because they're giving me comfort, and then God, because I wouldn't have to rely on Him. I would just rely on my family. And staying here, he was like, you rely so much on your husband. You rely on him for your happiness. When you're sad, whenever you don't feel beautiful, if he tells you you're beautiful, then you feel beautiful. Just all of these things. Like, I just rely on my husband so much that it was like, you're putting your husband first. You're putting him as number one, and I'm not number one in your life. And if any of you guys saw my Instagram post of me first getting baptized, that's kind of what it was about. Facebook posted a few days ago a picture of my baptism when I was in high school. And it was just this huge reminder of when I chose God, when I chose to be a daughter of Christ. And he was just reminding me of like, do you remember me? Do you remember who I am? Do you remember that you chose me? And I did. I chose him. I chose to be a daughter of the King. I chose to be this new creation. And God's saying, like, I have to remove him from your life so that we can align our relationship. You can depend on me solely. You can cherish me the way that you're supposed to. I can be your number one and not him. And then when he comes back, you will know who I am. You will know that I am your first. And now you will know that he is your second. So it was just like this, it was just like this huge revelation. I feel so at peace with my answer of knowing like God is going to work in my life. He is going to transform me and make me this person who's like courageous to step into church and sit by myself, to be this spiritual woman who can do things like go to church and pray and rely on God and do all these things by myself. And so I know that He's going to do this like amazing transformation. And so I just encourage all of you guys who are trying to make that decision. I mean, obviously there are different plans for everyone, but this is my plan. And I just encourage the Christians out there to pray and to really ask God, what are you teaching me? What are you going to teach me? Especially on times of deployment, whenever you're separated from the person you love the most. What are you teaching me here? It's a sad moment, but I want to learn what you have for me. And I think that's the most important thing. Just see what He does. But again, for the non-Christians, like, I acknowledge that there are non-Christians on my channel, and so I appreciate everyone. And so I just again want to say, even if it's not God, even if it's just your own self-will, just acknowledge, like, how am I going to be a better person? How am I going to strive to do things on my own, to be more independent, to get out of my house and be active and not stay in and be depressed? Just make sure you find your peace and say, okay, He's gone. Now what? Now how can I get out? Now how can I be better for Him? Especially when He comes back. Like, you want to be a better person for Him when He gets back. You don't want to be like a sulky mess and then He comes back and you're like, I just cried the whole time. And He's like, what? Why did you cry the whole time? He's going to just feel really bad. So just make sure you also live an exciting life. So that's just a little bit an update on my life. I hope it wasn't too long, but I've learned so much. And I just want to share it all with you because I'm just like so excited and ready to do this thing. Like, do the 2 months, do the deployment, and just do it. Like, obviously get it over with because I want it to be over with, but I also am excited to know what's going to happen in my life and what God's going to do. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too long and too rambly. I'm just so excited. And I want you guys to be happy and have the happiness that I have when they're gone. And obviously I'm going to get sad and you can get sad, obviously. But just to be like joyful about what's to come is so exciting. So anyways, like that's the end of it. I hope you like this video. If you do like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to share this video, write a comment, anything you want, anything your heart desires. And be sure to subscribe to my channel and I will see you guys in my next advice video.